Father.
Glory to Jesus Christ.
Glory forever.
You know, this week with both this before I can begin, but with both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton trying to convince people of the state of New York that they and not the other one are the true New Yorkers. It reminded me of a short story, heaven and hell story, that I once heard. One day at the entrance to heaven, St. Peter saw a New York street gang walk up to the pearly gates with two New York politicians leading them. This being a first, St. Peter ran to God and said, "God, there's some evil thieving New Yorkers at the pearly gates. What do I do?" God replied, "Just do what you normally do to that type. Redirect them down to hell." St. Peter went back to carry out the order, and all of a sudden he comes running back to God, yelling, "God, God, they're gone, they're gone." God asks, "Who, the New Yorkers?" St. Peter replies, "No, the pearly gates." Along with a lot of other things, I'm sure. So, in any case, although more accurately it would be a Chicago street gang, I think at this point where it's in reality, or Milwaukee, in reality to the proportion of violence. But I am going to need an assistant, a bright assistant, a young assistant.
He's a handsome man.
Is that your hand going up?
He's a handsome man.
It's the whole rest of her body going up. I need two of you, so you can come up too, Yvonne. All right. So, my lovely assistant here to my right is going to you're first. All right, come on over here. Now hold up for everyone this bottle of Windex. Hold it up really high so that they can see. All right. So today we're talking about sin. What do you think? It's an exciting subject, or sin? No, you don't know. All right. Well, could anyone tell me what sin is? So, in other words, if I'm saying I'm sinning or you're saying sinning, what am I saying?
Nice job.
Nice job. Nope. Yes, again.
An act of wrong or evil.
Right. The Scripture clearly tells us all wrongdoing is sin, right? And keep holding up. Someone might walk in late. Anyone see it? Oh, I'm just kidding. So, right, Scripture tells us all wrongdoing is sin. So anything that is not right is sin. That's the definition of sin. So it's something, a wrongdoing on the part of a rational creature. Does that make sense? And so let me ask you something. Is it wrong to use Windex? Here, hold it, think about it for a second. Is it wrong for me to use Windex? Would that be a sin, a wrong thing, or would it be good, a virtue, a right thing?
It would be good.
It would be good.
Yeah.
It would be good if I were to use it, say, to clean the windows or other things. However, it would not be good, right? That's all right. That's right. It would not be good if, say, I were to drink it, would it?
No.
What if I were to pour it on the food over here? Okay. So it's not the thing itself, right? It's not the thing itself that's wrong. It's the misuse of it, right? So if you use it right, anything's good. You know, if you use these to, for example, if you use the banana to eat, that would be a good thing, right? So long as you're not allergic to bananas. But if you put it up the tailpipe of a car, which is a prank that people used to do, that would be a sin, wouldn't it? Bad. Yes. That would be very bad. So, the basic definition of sin is that it is not, there's nothing of itself that's evil, because all things were created by God good. Sin is the misuse of a thing by a rational creature, and we are all rational creatures here. We might not act rationally sometimes, but we are all created rational creatures. So, now, we have the example of the Windex. Now, are some sins bigger than others? So are some bad things worse than others? More wrong? Yeah, there are more wrong. So give me an example. Let's think of something.
If you have like a wood, like you want to make something out of it, but you just fire it up. That's bad to do sometimes.
Yeah. Burning down the house would be much worse than say yes, burning a sheet of your homework accidentally, maybe. Right? That would be worse. Okay, so would you say that therefore small sins don't matter so much? It's really the big ones we should worry about avoiding? Or should we worry about avoiding all of them? All right. Let's pretend this is a sin. Let's pretend this is a sin. If I were to drop this on your foot, would it hurt? You think this one would hurt? Go ahead, drop it on your foot. See it. Or drop it on mine. Yeah, see, it didn't hurt. So let's say this is a little sin, right? And Catherine, it might hurt you a little bit, but not really a whole lot. However, if I were to drop this on your foot, that would hurt, right? So let's say that's a big sin because it's heavy, just like big wrongdoing. Big wrongdoing weighs heavy on your soul, right? And that's heavier and it's bigger. So that would hurt more, right? So we're not really so worried about this little pebble, right, dropping on your foot. The little sins don't matter as much as the big sins, or do they? Because I can show you. Thank you. You can put that back. Thank you so much. I can think of a way that this would hurt the foot anyway.
Right inside the shoe.
Got that right. Actually, Joshua, you come here and be my assistant for this. Correct. If I put it inside, you have tied shoes, so. But if I put it inside the shoe, it really kind of hurts. I'm gonna need help, right? I'm gonna need help walking. Here now, you be. Yeah, it really kind of hurts, even the little ones. And so I will show you what really does hurt. You can keep it or put it outside, whatever. Keep it as a memento. So, if you steal, let's say you steal a candy, okay, and that would not be good, right? You steal a candy,
Yeah.
they're asking. Another thing might be you steal a pencil, and this is the reason why you're stealing the pencil, right? Because your teacher told you you have a test today, and you show up for school, and you forgot that your teacher told you you need to make sure you bring your own pencils, because I'm not going to provide any for you. And otherwise you're going to fail this test. And you say, oh no. And you see a pencil sticking out of the guy in front of his desk, and out of the book bag of the guy in front of me, and you take it out. And all of a sudden, she hands out the test. And you have the pencil to take the test. The only problem is, that was their only pencil. Now they were responsible enough to bring the pencil. But you said, well, you know, that guy's really smart, and one failed grade won't hurt him, but it'll hurt me. pencil. And that might be, or maybe he loses a prize for having the highest grade. Maybe he loses even a scholarship if you were older and in high school, right? Right? And another thing, though, maybe you don't know, is he goes home and he gets in real big trouble with his parents because he failed the test. Real big. He gets grounded for a month. He gets all privileges taken away from him. So that's not so little anymore, is it? It seems like a little thing. But then we don't see the ripple effects of even our little sins, our little tiny sins. And so we have here, this is for you guys to remember the sermon by, and also to bring the next time your teacher needs you to have a pencil so you're not tempted. So just the same thing as shoplifting. You guys know what shoplifting is? Okay, shoplifting is when people steal from inside a store and they take something from inside a store and they put it in their pocket and they try to get out the door without the cashier seeing them or any other things, any other people stealing them. So this seems like a little thing, right? Is that a little sin or a big sin, do you think? Yeah. Right. It might seem like a little sin at first, because after all, it's a store. It's not like it's a person, right? That's what you might rationalize. However, what you don't see is that after you walk out, and let's say even another few kids might shoplift, and all of a sudden that cashier, come inventory time, and inventory time means when they see how much was bought and sold, how much things that they have in stock. Okay, you don't need to. That's okay. But anyway, they count. They all of a sudden see how much is missing, how much wasn't bought. And guess who they blame? Yeah, a nice worker lady who's doing her job all alone, and she gets fired. And then she goes home, and she doesn't have money to feed her kids. And she doesn't have money to put clothes on them anymore because she doesn't have a job anymore. So all of a sudden, she can't buy new shoes for her kids. And by the way, that might be the kid who you're sitting next to and doesn't have as nice of clothes as you, so always be careful because you might be more fortunate. So always be grateful to God. But this is why, even these little tiny things, it seems like a little sin, but it really is much bigger, and it has much bigger effects than what we think it does. Make sense? Thank you both for helping me out up here. You can go ahead and sit down. Thank you. So before us, I should move this back over as much, but before us we have an image of Christ, and specifically this is the image of Edessa, and also known as the image made without hands. And it was the image that was given to King Abgar of Edessa. It's a copy of that image, obviously. When Christ put his face up to a cloth, when King Abgar appealed to the apostles and said, I need Christ to come to me. And Christ said, I can't come to him, but here, give him this. And he brought up a cloth to his face, and he gave it to the apostles to in turn give to King Abgar, who in turn became Christian. So, this image made without hands is very important. But you know what? There's another image made without hands in this church. In fact, there's a lot of them. And I'm looking at them. There's a reason why I sense you when I go about the church. Because you are all icons made without hands. So yes, the original of this was miraculous, but you're more miraculous. You're a living, breathing icon. No matter how tarnished you make it, the image of God is within you. So, and you know, our culture like celebrates the likes of Bill Gates or Steve Jobs is almost a hero when that funeral came about, right? But you know, much of this technology we have today is stolen from others. We know the story of Apple and Microsoft, where these guys were stealing from each other and not giving credit to the other one. Same with Facebook, right? Watch The Social Network. Do you think God is offended by such things? Why is he offended by such things? Well, it's because it's not who we were created to be. Sin is a departure from our true selves. A departure from whom we were created to be. Adam and Eve were their true selves, growing and walking with God until they were beguiled by the serpent, the devil, who was jealous of humankind. He wanted them to corrupt their true selves, and guess what? We did it. And we're still doing it today without much of his help. You know, the devil doesn't really need to be super active because we do it for him. We do his work for him, but willingly. But he wanted them to corrupt themselves. Not him to force it upon them. The devil, by the way, never forces anything upon us. No. He gets us to do it voluntarily. That's what he wanted Adam and Eve to do. He wanted them to do it by their own free will. And that's what happened with them, and that's what's happening with us. We are not created to be corrupt, but to be holy, and to use our free will to once again walk with God. If we want to find our true selves, we can easily get it back. Our corrupt self might steal a pencil to cover our own backside at the expense of another. Our corrupt self wants our true self to be in prison. I'm going to say that again. Our corrupt self wants our true self to be in prison, so that it can't function, it can't get out. Because guess what? Our corrupt self doesn't get to stay corrupt if we find our true self, because our true self is the person who's in full communion and union with God. We have until the end of our lives to find our true self before it is lost forever. Our true self is not the person who steals the pencil out of the bag. Our true self is the other person sitting looking on at another desk. Our true self, if we find it and make it operable, brings extra pencils, just in case anyone might not have them and might not be tempted to take them. Our true selves are made to grow as persons, to start thinking of things we never had before, to start looking for things, for ways to help that we never had before. Now we tend to ignore things, and maybe not intentionally, but we tend to walk by a lot of situations where we could stop and help, and it might only take under a minute. And it might change a whole person's day or even week to see that just one person stops and cares. Christ lives within you, and that's your calling. God put them there for your salvation, and you're walking right by it. But our true self is the one where we grow as persons when we start to look for opportunities. We start to see these things as exactly opportunities for us to participate in our own salvation. Because we may think that our helping others is good for them. But I'll tell you the truth. It's better for us. It's better for us. It is more blessed to give than to receive, my friends.